Hello and welcome back to Planet 40k. Today is episode 4 from the Deathguard series here on the channel, and as always the units we cover are selected by a poll on our Patreon service. So if you want to get involved in that, then click the link in the video description which will take you to our Patreon page. So the winner of the poll was the Plague Surgeon. Has the feel of a Marine Apothecary, so let's see if he stacks up as good as the Astartes variant. So Plague Surgeon is 4 power or 75 points for the model. As for keywords of note, he's got the Plague Company keyword, he's a character, he's got the Bubonic Astartes keyword, he's a fetid variant, and he's an infantry. So a Plague Company is a mini faction within the Deathguard Codex that grants access to a warlord trait, a relic, and a stratagem. A video will be done at some point on each Plague Company in the near future. The Bubonic Astartes keyword will interact with stratagems and buffs, and the fetid variant is the final one that we need to mention, which has its own rule on page 40 of the Codex, which states that you can take 3 completely different elite units within the Codex that have the same keyword, and it'll only take up 1 battlefield slot within the detachment. Which is kind of nice, as they brought out so many elite characters over the past few years, and it didn't quite feel right not being able to field all of them, then also not allowing space for other elites such as Terminators, Hellbrutes and Possessed. So a good fix in my opinion. So onto the datasheet itself with a stat line. They've got movement 5-inch, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, wounds 4, attacks 4, leadership 8 and a 3+ save. So pretty average here, nothing stands out. As for abilities, disgustingly resilient, which is now a -1 to all damage taken. And I must stress that it's a -1 to every single attack. It's not the combined amount of dice that you take, it's to every single attack. Then they've got Contagions of Nurgle, which is a stink that all Deathguard units put out, which gets worse as the game progresses. So in battle round 1 it's only 1 inch around all of your units, and it grows up to a 9-inch radius at turn 4 and onwards. Effectively inflicts a -1 to your opponent's toughnesses while they're within the range. So this is going to really aid the weapons with the rune rolls. So onto the more unique abilities, you've got Revitalizing Malignancy, which is at the end of the movement phase. This model can heal 1 friendly Bubonic Astartes infantry model, which is within 3-inch. That model is going to regain D3 lost wounds, and you can only do this once per turn. So units with the Bubonic Astartes keyword that is infantry are the characters, the Plague Marines, the Terminators and the Possessed. A few things to note with this ability is firstly, it can work on himself as he carries the 2 needed keywords, and secondly, there is no restriction on Plague Companies, so if you do have 2 detachments which are completely different Plague Companies, they can heal each other. His second unique ability, which is Tainted Narcissism, which is an aura, while a friendly Bubonic Astartes infantry unit is within 3-inch of the model, each time that unit loses a wound, and on a 6 the wound is not lost. So the same rules apply here, Bubonic Astartes infantry only. He also counts as 1 and it works on all Plague Companies. On to the weapons. So a Plague Surgeon is equipped with a bolt pistol, a bale sword, then the blight grenades and crack grenades. So I'll quickly put the pistol and the grenades on the screen just for reference sake. Now as they're only his ranged weapons, he probably will be using them. Then onto his bale sword. This is virtually a Plague power sword. It's strength +1, making it a strength 5, -3 AP and 1 damage. It's a plague weapon, so each time you make an attack with this weapon, you reroll wound rolls of a 1. So this chap has 4 attacks base. He's not likely to be removing a Primaris Marine from the battle, but you may pick off a guardsman or 2 or a unit of that caliber. It's worth bearing in mind that he's a support character, not a melee beast, so we can't expect too much from him. Looking at the synergy within other areas of the Codex, you've got the stratagems first, which a few of them do work with him. So you've got the Diseased Effluence for 1 CP done in the fight phase. And while the unit is in combat, your Plague Surgeon will suffer a mortal wound, but then on a 2+, the enemy unit is going to suffer 2 D3 mortal wounds, or just 1 D3 if it's a character. So it's a solid trade-off, and you still have your 6+ feel no pain save against the mortal wound 2 from your ability. Release the Toxins for 2 CP used on any character with a relic. You roll 1d6 for any enemy units that are within 7 inches of your Plague Surgeon, and on a roll of a 2, 3, 4 or a 5, they'll suffer a mortal wound. On a 6 it's going to be D3 mortal wounds. Now this can only be done once per battle per model. Gifts of Decay for 1 CP is your Deathguard method of getting more relics into the army, and then likewise for 1 CP, Plague Chosen, which is the method of getting an extra warlord trait into the army. Now if you wanted your Plague Surgeon to hold a relic, there's a few to select from here. Fugaris Helm, which extends his auras by 3-inch, which is going to aid your Tainted Narcissism for that 6+ feel no pain save. You could also opt to give him the Plague Bringer, which replaces his Bale Sword, which is a strength 6, -3 AP and 2 damage a pop, and each casualty will count as 2 models for the purposes of morale. Now anything strength 6 for the Deathguard is pretty awesome, as the common infantry toughness in the 40k game is toughness 4. And while they're within contagion range, which they should be in combat, it's going to drop down to toughness 3. so therefore all your strength 6 weapons are always wounded on 2s, and likely rerolling 1s if they're a plague weapon. So in combat, strength 6 is lethal, and he goes from killing half a marine on average to now killing 2 marines with a weapon. So talking tactics, he's a support character, he's best served behind characters and the more costly units such as Terminators and Plague Marines. So maybe you can create a mini Death Star force within a detachment that includes a melee monster such as Typhus or one of the Lords. Then you could have a unit of Blight Lord Terminators in the mix, or Death Shroud Terminators for that added bodyguard protection from the snipers. Then the Plague Surgeon is healing and buffing everyone there, while the Terminators are the bodyguards with the extra support to your Lord character. Then that Lord character of course is chopping his way through whatever he gets his hands on. Now you could replace the Terminators with Plague Marines, which are half the cost and very customizable, but your Terminators are extremely resilient with 3 wounds. When combined with the new disgustingly resilient rule as well, they're almost like mini characters within themselves now due to that. Like even 3 damage 2 weapons that go through armor wouldn't kill a single Terminator model. I mean, that's pretty insane. So conclusion time. At first I didn't think much of the Plague Surgeon. As expected, no damage output really, and doesn't have access to the stratagem like the Space Marine counterpart does. However, his 2 unique abilities alone are worth the 75 points. Giving a 6+ feel no pain to an already tough to break down faction is pretty strong. And like we just mentioned, even 3 damage 2 weapons won't take down a Terminator. But even when he does take the 3 wounds, he's got half a chance of rolling a 6 to getting one of those lost wounds back. So it's going to negate a little bit more damage. And then of course on your own turn, using the Narthesium, you're going to heal D3 wounds, which is the big one here, as your Terminators are pretty pricey. I mean, the Blight Lords are 40 points per man before adding the weapons on, and the Death Shroud Terminators are 50 points per man before upgrades. So if you are healing D3 wounds every turn, you should easily make 75 points back up. So it's safe to say the Plague Surgeon is a solid investment for your faction. He's not really taking up a slot either if you take other elite units alongside him. Now I would like to have seen him have access to a better range weapon, but it is what it is on that front. The go-to relic seems to be the Figuris Helm for what I can tell. Players seem to like that 6-inch aura, so that's something I'd consider when fielding him. So as for rating, the Plague Surgeon is going to be getting a Planet 40k rating of 3.5 out of 5. Now I was caught in the middle of a 3.5 and a 4 here, as you do get your points back if you put him with the right units, but I've gone with the 3.5 due to his lack of damage output. Now he does have a Deathguard Power Sword, but being 1 damage only is a bit of a letdown against the current meta. That's what I think. Let me know your thoughts below. Poll of the day today is, do you prefer the standard Space Marine Apothecary or the Deathguard Plague Surgeon? Now the Marine version is slightly faster at 6-inch, only toughness 4 and only 3 attacks, not 4. However, he has access to the Combat Revival stratagem to bring an entire model back for only 1 CP. But of course he hasn't got Disgustingly Resilient, or toughness 5 with 4 attacks. So answers in the comments below. As always, drop a like on the way out, and if you are new and found the content useful, then don't forget to subscribe below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.